Wow, we have so much to talk about today, and I want to jump right into the messages because so much is flowing through right now, and I'm getting so many waves of chills and goosebumps just starting to channel into this because just this morning I have felt this really powerful shift in the energy, and it's something that I want to talk about with all of you. The thing I love most about some of these videos and the way that we connect here on YouTube is sometimes I get the feeling that we're just sitting in like a coffee shop having a deep conversation over coffee. And I don't know why, I just really love that sort of visualization. So I hope that you feel that way here too. And I hope that you feel that this is a space where you can have those kinds of discussions, conversations, and like open up energetically in a way that you might not always be able to in your waking daily life. Because I know that many of you are on a path where you are very much a lone wolf, or you are connected in with certain geographical locations or communities or places where you are essentially like the light in that space, or you are the beacon or the anchor for so many people around you. And I hope that this is someplace where you can feel held to some degree in return. And I know that's a little bit of an aside there, and I do want to get into this reading, but that's just really something I wanted to say right away. I am recording this the morning of when I am going to be releasing it. So the energy is like really ripe and fresh right now. And I really hope that this video reaches whoever needs to hear it, because I'm picking up on a collective that has just stepped into a new timeline. And I feel as though reality is literally reforming and rearranging itself around this new energy that you are embodying. It's almost like you're right in the middle of reality physically catching up to a timeline shift. And I feel that for many people I'm speaking to here, you may have done something intentionally or internally to shift into this timeline, to shift your energy in a way that would align with this timeline. So you may have set some kind of goal or intention, or maybe you were visualizing or doing different manifestation routines or taking different action steps. For some of you, whoa, I bumped the microphone there for a second. And it's interesting because whenever that happens, I always think of interference because it creates some like interference on the audio track. And I think of how you might be experiencing interference, meaning I feel as though you are at the part of your timeline shift where there are going to be people and things that feel threatened by your growth, by your expansion, by how they sense that you're changing. And the thing about this is, I don't want to say that you're being tested because I know that sounds really intense, but it does almost feel like a test. It feels as though you're at the part of your growth, the threshold moment, if you will, where you are stepping through this threshold of, it's like you're exiting one version of your identity and you're entering into a new version of your identity. And people around you or connected to that old version of you may be feeling subtly threatened, or they may even unconsciously, without realizing it or without any kind of malicious intent, they may subtly say or do things to try and hold you to the old frequency version of yourself. Now, for some reason, this is really reminding me of this video that I just saw on Instagram. I saw it yesterday, but I didn't watch it. You know, when you see a piece of content and you're like, I don't have the time to immerse in this right now, but I know that this is going to be important. So you save it and then return back to it later. That's kind of in the place that I was. So I saved it. And then this morning when I woke up, I watched the video, and it's just crazy how aligned it is with all of the downloads and messages that were coming up around this timeline shift today. And I will try to remember to repost that video, the original video, to my Instagram, because I can't take credit for this concept. But the creator was talking about how in dating, like this was kind of a dating sort of reel, and they were talking about how one way to approach dating from a spiritual perspective is that you are dating a timeline rather than a person. So every particular person every relationship, even friendships, because for the purposes of this video, I feel like we could apply this so much bigger than just love and romance. Maybe you aren't in the dating world or you're already in a relationship or whatever. But the idea is every person, everything in our lives, it comes with a timeline. It attaches to a specific timeline. And when you are someone who is very spiritually awakened and you have a high level of consciousness in the way that you do, one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself is to commit to a timeline rather than externally attaching to any specific thing or person that comes with their own timeline, if that makes sense. I know this is very much a quantum concept, but the idea is, for example, like even when it comes to opportunities or friendships or connections, the idea is if you attach to a specific person or thing or opportunity in this like externally attached way, you are also attaching to whatever that timeline is. But if you attach internally to the timeline that you want to experience and you affirm to yourself, I am going to show up as my most inspired, beautiful, powerful, magnetic, successful version of myself, whatever that looks like, my most confident and self-loving version of myself, I am showing up in that timeline, in that energy. That is what I'm going to experience. You do something very powerful because when you affirm that to yourself, you essentially have this attitude of surrender towards everyone and everything else in your life. And you say to the universe and to yourself at all levels, your higher self, your soul, your subconscious mind, your conscious mind, you affirm to yourself that everything and everyone in your life is going to mold and conform itself around this new timeline that you've committed to, but your highest commitment is to the timeline. So you've committed to a timeline, and now you are allowing people and things to reform around that timeline. This is actually the most powerful way to shift into a new timeline very quickly. But it's also the reason that most people don't do that, or most people will return back to their former timeline. It's because they don't have the attitude of surrender and the level of self-love to be able to say, I am confident and powerful and self-loving no matter what. I can't lose because I am bringing that version of myself wherever I go. And so whatever I lose externally isn't a loss, it's a realignment. And the right people and things, meaning the people and things that can connect with me on my highest timeline in this version of me, will find me and connect with me and celebrate me and support me in this timeline. The thing about doing this is people may actually surprise you because once you affirm this to yourself, even certain people who may have seemed resistant to that new version of you may actually begin to reform and realign themselves, essentially connecting with a higher version of your connection with them in order to stay connected with you on that highest timeline. But you have to hold that highest energy and that highest frequency. And this is not easy work. It's very challenging to be the frequency holder. But I just felt so many chills calling you the frequency holder. I really feel like that sums up so much of your spiritual role here on planet Earth in so many ways. Maybe in a family, in a community, in your geographical location, in friendships and relationships, whatever. I feel that you are the frequency holder. You are the one who is holding the higher energy and inspiring other people up to that space. And this has been a massive shift in roles for you. I've spoken on this before, but for many of you, so as light workers here on planet Earth, which I know many of you identify as light workers as well, we are often assigned, meaning we choose as souls unconsciously prior to incarnating here, different roles within this idea of light working. And so for many of you, you have shifted from this role where as a light worker, you were more so a bridge builder to a frequency holder. So essentially in the past, you may have had this role as a light worker of being someone who was a bridge builder who would actually go down into the mud, into the chaos, into the darkness, and you would go down and connect with people there, and then you would lift them up to a higher energy and frequency to help them adjust to that, and you would like bridge them there in a way, step by step. But now you are in this role where you are a frequency holder, where you are no longer like dipping down in your own energy or vibration to connect with someone in theirs. You are inspiring other people up to this higher place, and you are meant to live and to lead by that example of a higher energy rather than through hand holding, essentially, like holding people's hand every step of the way and leading them like step by step through the mud, through the lower energies. You're now holding the higher energy. You're holding the higher frequency. And so I feel like this video will find those who have experienced this shift in their role here on planet Earth. And at times there is this discomfort. There is this uncertainty because there are people who are going to need to adjust to the higher energy that you are embodying. That's not to say that they won't adjust to it or even that they have bad intentions or anything like that. It just means that they have to make that choice for themselves, and you have to let them make that choice. So I feel as though there is so much like taking of accountability for one's own energy. It's like you are taking accountability for the kind of timeline you want to align with, for this new version of yourself, and saying to the universe, this is who I am, and bring me who and what will connect with me here. And again, I keep getting that word test. I don't want to say that you're being tested, but seriously, if you've recently begun to take some radical action steps towards your goals, or maybe you recently affirmed to yourself, because I even did a video on this, a mini reading, which I've been doing more of. I've been on this journey as well, and I've been recently really making the commitment here on this channel to create more content that is valuable and helpful to you guys and to show up more consistently, even if it's imperfect. And so I feel that within that, there may be a message for you. Maybe you've been doing that in your own life. You've been choosing to create or to show up in some kind of way and to push through some of those fears that may have been blockages that could have held you back in the past. But if you've recently, well, to go back, to finish the thought, there's so much coming through that it makes me want to like jump around in the energy. But so recently I did a mini reading, and it was on how you may have recently received divine instructions from your higher self or from the universe, meaning you may have suddenly gotten inspired to some different plan or pathway or something like that in your life. And it's interesting because I did that video, and now we're talking about people noticing this shift in you and possibly feeling this discomfort or needing to adjust to this new version of you. So for some of you, maybe you received whatever those instructions were and you started taking a lot of action steps or started moving, even if it wasn't the literal action. Maybe you just started like visualizing into this new version of yourself. I'm hearing you called in this higher timeline. I don't know how you did it, whether it was through taking action that you were inspired to that like shifted the energy into this higher space. Maybe it was visualizing, affirming, just setting a particular goal. But I feel like you did something to call in this higher timeline that was very conscious and intentional. And now you're in the phase where people and things are starting to notice this shift about you. And it's almost like you're at that threshold moment where you are deciding like internally, am I going to give in and make other people more comfortable and shrink back into that previous version of myself? Or am I going to keep stepping into this new version of me that I have consciously called in, that I am desiring to embody? And so I feel like you're at that kind of crossroads. And that may be why you've manifested in this video whenever it comes across your feed, to really inspire you to keep going, to keep holding the vision, to keep holding the new energy, to keep moving in that direction. And, you know, if you do feel inspired to share in the comments something that you may be doing every day to hold that energy, whether it is a visualization practice or something specific to you or an action step or actions you're taking, things you're creating, whatever you're doing, I would love to hear about it in the comments, because I feel that you may be also experiencing this dynamic where in your waking daily life, you try to tell people about what you're doing or what's going on, or maybe you've had people ask you and then you tell them about what you're creating or building or envisioning, and it's almost like they deflate the energy because they can't yet meet you in that higher energy. And I would love for this channel to be a space where you can actually feel celebrated and supported in whatever action steps you're taking towards a dream or a goal or whatever intentions you have or whatever life you're envisioning, whatever that is for you, I want you to feel unlimited here, because so many people only feel comfortable with you on certain timelines, with certain versions of you. And I feel this actually gets into something so much deeper and so much broader in your life, because I feel what we also need to talk about is how this is a theme in your life. I feel like you are someone who sometimes can be interpreted as quote unquote flaky. Like you may be the kind of person who sometimes needs to cancel plans or doesn't make plans with certain people because you don't necessarily feel like you want to lock yourself in to that particular futuristic timeline where that plan is occurring. And the reason is because you know, you have an awareness that you are someone who shifts timelines very quickly. And I feel like for the last several years, it's like you've been rapidly shifting and cycling through versions of yourself, and being untethered, being in a sense uncommitted to any one particular timeline has allowed you, I'm hearing nomadic, like you are a nomad. You are this free flowing kind of energy that is able to travel between timelines, between dimensions. And because you allow yourself this freedom, you are actually able to evolve at a much more rapid rate than most people. But I'm getting that the only people who can, like, quote unquote, keep up with you are the ones who are willing to travel through timelines with you, who are not attached to any one version of yourself or any one frequency that you may be in, but who connect with you at the core. And this is why I feel that the people you are closest to, your inner circle, so to speak, the ones that really stay with you timeline after timeline, are the ones who are not connected to anything going on with you on the external, but they are the ones who are connected with you on a deeper core soul frequency level, because that is what maintains sameness through every timeline that you travel through. You still embody at the core the same core energy. It's just that you are consciously choosing to connect with different realities and timelines in the external world and to manifest those different versions of yourself. But at the core, you are still this same energy signature in your most authentic state. And that stays with you not only through these different versions of yourself in this lifetime, but lifetime after lifetime. Because it's interesting, most people take on a specific identity in a physical lifetime, and they never change identities too much through one lifetime. But then in the next lifetime, they'll take on a different identity. But through all of that, their core frequency stays the same. But with you, wow, I don't think I've ever said it this way, but with you, it's almost like you are living hundreds of lifetimes in one. And that is what I mean when I say you're able to evolve at a rapid pace, because for most people, it would take hundreds of lifetimes to evolve at the rate that you are evolving, because you are essentially living hundreds of different, I mean, maybe it's not hundreds, maybe it's dozens, only you know for you, maybe it is hundreds, but you are living through so many different versions and frequencies of yourself and experiencing a kind of evolution that can only come through doing that. And many people around you may not understand this. I feel like you in your life have lost many potential lovers or friends or people in your life that could not keep up with you because they were only connecting with one version of you. And I feel that there is at times a sadness with this, because you may look back and feel like, wow, I've lived so many lives that it's like people I've connected with in each of those versions of me, many of them I have never spoken to again or have not been able to reconnect with. I feel that you may be someone who doesn't necessarily have a lot of lifelong friends. I do feel you have a very strong inner circle, but I feel like you're not one of those people that picks up a lot of different friends from different versions of you and then can keep them in your life. Not of any fault of your own, but just because they can't keep connecting with these changing versions of you. But the beautiful thing beneath all of this that I keep picking up on energetically is this profound connection to your inner self through all of this, and how this way that you shift through so many versions of yourself is actually training you into such a deep level of self-love and self-trust and empowerment internally, because I really feel as though the energy that you're emanating is I love myself too much to betray the versions of me that I still want to become by holding on too tightly to a person who may be still connecting with a version of me that I'm shifting out of. And I feel like this is like the ultimate level of self-love. And you've had to do so much inner work to get here because it requires so much courage and so much connectedness to your inner self to say, I am going to align with my highest timeline and let everything and everyone else rearrange itself around that energy and around that frequency. And I don't know why something about this has really come to a head for you recently, why it's coming up in this specific reading. But again, I just feel like you've recently called in some kind of higher timeline, maybe even just in the last few days or weeks or something. And as a result of that shift, you may be noticing strange behavior from certain people or things in your life who are still trying to hold on to that outdated version of you. And like I said earlier, every connection does have a potential higher version of itself. So it's not to say these individuals can't choose to connect with you on a higher plane, in a higher version of that connection, but that has to be their choice. And so many themes coming through these recent readings have been about letting people take responsibility and accountability for their own energy and their own emotions, especially the emotions they may be feeling about your transformation or about you really going for it in your life, pursuing your dreams, being the visionary, doing whatever it is you are doing in this world. So I just feel such a powerful energy swirling around you. And I know we haven't pulled a card yet, but I do want to get into some actual card pulling and some tarot reading for this video as well. I know that so far this has all just been kind of like one massive download, but I really hope it reached you if it was for you. So let's go ahead and start pulling some cards. I will be pulling from the Energy Oracle deck and also the traditional tarot as well. By the way, this is nagging at me in the best way, but I don't know why I feel guided to share about this. I have no affiliation with this particular app, and I actually do think it's free. I just have started using it. Well, I've used it off and on. I think I mentioned it a couple years ago, but I kind of forgot about it. And I started using it again a few days ago, and it was so spot on accurate. So I wanted to share it with you in case you don't have it. I need to get the exact name of the app. Maybe I can link it or something below. Again, I'm not connected to this app in any kind of way, but this app is called Moon Calendar. Yeah, so I'll try to leave a link for it if I remember. And I do think it's free. I can't remember for sure. But essentially, it gives you specific insights for you based on your personal birth chart and what is happening with the moon phases and the moon cycle. And you can also use it as a journal, although I haven't used that feature. But it gives you insights every day astrologically. And I just feel like this is such a beautiful kind of exercise of self-reflection, especially for someone like you that seems to be really connected to, well, all forms of energy. You're very attuned to all energies, including the energy of Gaia, the energy of just the universe itself. Astrological transits probably affect you to a greater degree. So that's just a tool that I've been using. So anyway, I am going to start shuffling now. And what can I channel through? I am going to have a quick sip of my coffee. Hopefully you have some kind of comforting beverage or snack during this reading. Okay, I love having my morning coffee with you guys in these readings. It feels so cozy in a way. What can I channel here for our collective? Okay, we have the Page of Pentacles reversed and the Lovers. The Two of Cups. This is a very interesting energy. The Ten of Wands in the reverse position. Well, clearly you are aligning with a really, really beautiful love connection. It doesn't have to be romantic, but I feel this energy of partnership. This feels like your ultimate highest timeline shared with like a person, if it's romantic, or a group of people or a community. But I feel, and I'm hearing the word self-love, I feel that this love energy coming into your life in whatever external form it is coming into your life is coming in response to your self-love. And I'm hearing unconditional, that it's very unconditional as well. With the Two of Cups, yeah, there's just very much a balanced partnership energy here. And I have to tell you, I'm getting the message that your energy has become so focused and so powerful on this higher timeline that, I mean, when I tell you imbalanced connections cannot exist in your field right now, it's not even a matter of like, oh, you're just gravitating away from them. They literally can't exist in your field long term. It cannot be, because, and I'll tell you why, from a quantum perspective, it's like you are so hyper focused on your highest version of self, your highest timeline. And as a result of that, you're emanating such a powerful, strong energy and an energy of wholeness and balance that anyone who tries to enter your life in an imbalanced way, whether it's an opportunity, a friendship, a romantic person, what happens is they would begin to kind of like pull on that balance that you've established within yourself. So the only way that they could stay in your life in that capacity would be if you were to imbalance your own energy, which I feel you're not willing to do anymore. And if you maintain that balance, they literally either have to reciprocate with you in a balanced way and reflect that to you, or they have to vibrate out of your life, at least for the time being. So that's what I mean when I say like these imbalanced connections can quite literally no longer exist in your field as long as you're continuing to hold this powerful energy within yourself. And this also means your intention is the best boundary. Your energy is the best boundary. It's like a boundary you don't even have to speak or to iterate with your words or even your actions. It's an energy that speaks for you, because what I keep hearing is like when you focus on the vision, when you focus on yourself, when you focus your energy on being this most powerful, confident, self-loving version of you, that is the boundary. It's a ring of fire around you, metaphorically, where only the ones who are truly able to connect with you in that and able to participate with you in a balanced way can reach you, can pass through the fire, so to speak. And so I feel like your only job here is to keep holding that energy and to let everything else realign itself around you. I'm getting the word caution. I feel like for some of you, you may have certain people in your life who have this somewhat like pessimistic or cautious energy. This was sort of that like deflating energy that I was talking about. Now, I should say, it feels like these individuals are feeling blocked out of your life at this time because, like I said, you've shifted your energy in a way where those connections I'm hearing they can't sustain themselves in your life in the same way, because they can't sustain themselves because they don't know how to generate, or they aren't consciously generating their own energy, their own magic, their own like emotional stability. And so if they don't know how to generate that internally and they were taking it from you, that is no longer a possibility. So some of them may be feeling very triggered, and you may have certain people that are even like cautioning you, saying like, oh, you know, when, for example, you may share a dream or an idea with them and they may give you the reasons it wouldn't work, or they may caution you. I just keep hearing cautious. Like that's the vibe that I'm getting. Like they're very cautious, but it's not true caution from a place of like legitimate concern. I'm not saying they're ill-meaning or anything like that, but it feels like subconsciously their caution is coming from them actually being a little bit intimidated by or threatened by this new version of you that you're stepping into. I'm hearing, I don't know where I fit into your life. So for some of them, they're afraid subconsciously, because when you become this powerful or this self-loving or this lit up or this successful, they are going to have to potentially be like rearranged in your life around that energy and frequency. And so subconsciously, they may be afraid of that change happening within you, because it may require them to change in order to continue connecting with you. But again, that's not your responsibility. That is their responsibility to take accountability for. And regardless, I feel something you are being guided to trust is that with this Lover's card energy, you are aligning with and connecting with true love connections, whether it's romantic or not, connections that truly love you and support you and can show up for you in this energy in a balanced way. And yeah, we have Goddess of the Moon and Angel of Love. You are just in such a powerful, beautiful energy right now. I know I keep reiterating that, but it keeps coming through in the messages. With Goddess of the Moon and Angel of Love, I feel like this is you stepping into your highest empowerment that you've ever been in, but also your softest state of love. And that is like the polarity here. That is you balancing your inner masculine and your inner feminine, as we've been talking a lot recently about on the channel. It's like I'm hearing you've never been this powerful, but you've never been this soft, meaning you've never been so confident. You've never been so focused in a way, like your energy, even if you aren't putting that focus into physical action right now or yet, there is this focus from your energy. It's almost like a laser beam in a way. And I feel like because of that, you are such a powerful manifester at this time, or you will be as you begin to lean more into that. But I also feel like from that other side, the more feminine side, like you've never been so soft. You've never been so emotionally open or connected to your own emotions, or so intuitive, or such a beacon of love in this world. Yeah, you've never been so powerful, but you've never been so soft. Those are kind of the terminologies coming through here. So I do want to see if anything else wants to make its way through the reading. I will be continuing this on to the extended version. So if you do want to join me in the extended version of this reading and keep the channeling going, then the link to join either on YouTube memberships or Patreon is in the pinned comment underneath this video. I do see with man holding a coin in the reverse position, like there is this energy. This could be a person or just like some kind of energy manifesting itself in your life. There's some energy of someone who feels a little bit like subtly threatened because they are, I have to say for some of you, if you are a divine feminine, this feels like it could be a masculine that is feeling like, whoa, if you are this balanced, if you are this powerful, if you've balanced your internal divine masculine as a divine feminine, then I really need to step up my game. Like I need to step up into my own balanced energy, into my wholeness. If you are a divine feminine listening, I feel like in general, you have this impact on masculine energy where you show up so whole, so complete, so powerful that they have no choice but to rise or to fall out of your life. And I'm not just talking about romantic masculine energies. This could be masculine energy showing up in your friendships, family relationships, opportunities, businesses, environments. I feel like you inspire people, things, environments to elevate themselves or to fall out of your life, and only they can make that choice. But it's because you're coming from a place of such wholeness that it's like they know you are not going to be forming any kind of entangling or codependent sort of connection with them whatsoever. They know that you are fully whole and complete and lit up within yourself. And so if they want to connect with you, the only way is to elevate themselves and connect with you from that higher level where you are both interconnecting and interacting from a place of mutual wholeness and mutual empowerment. Yeah, I'm just hearing rise or fall away. I feel like that's what your energy is emanating right now. Like rise to this level and connect with me here, or fall out of my life. But again, there is such an attitude of surrender that I know you've had to maintain through all of that isn't always easy, that most people can't maintain. And that's why they fall back into the old version of themselves. But I really hope that this reading has inspired you some way to keep holding that beautiful, powerful, self-loving energy that you are holding, and to let others take accountability for their own energy and rise to meet you there. So I am going to go ahead and close this reading here and continue on to the extended. So thank you so much for tuning in today. If this did connect, of course, I would love for you to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so you get notified whenever I post new downloads or in the moment videos that may be helpful or supportive for you on your journey. And yeah, I hope you have a beautiful day. I have been coming on more with more content, so I plan to continue doing that. And so with that being said, I will connect with you here again in the next reading.